Hi there, my name's Beth Linden. My colleagues at the office today asked me if I could put together a short video just to give clients that are calling and emailing some more information about the Linden Method programme. We are experiencing a much higher volume of inquiries at the moment, as I'm sure you'll appreciate with the pandemic and with what's going on across our country at the moment, and in fact across the world. It's no surprise that we're getting more people inquiring. So let me just give you some information that will hopefully enable you to have some time to think about whether the programme is suitable for you, and we sincerely hope that we will be able to help you to get your life back, for you to be able to remove the anxiety disorder and be able to live the life that you deserve. So we started out in 1997. Charles himself was a chronic anxiety sufferer. I met him in the latter part of when he was suffering, but we were together for a couple of years whilst he was suffering, and it was pretty horrendous. I still say now that, having done our residential retreats for 11 years now, he is still the worst person I've ever seen. I used to have to go home at lunchtime to get him off the sofa to take him down the corridor to our toilet in our flat, because he became so agoraphobic, so living in terror. He used to have between 8 and 10 panic attacks a day, most of those at night. He had terrible disturbing thoughts. He had an eating disorder. You name it, he had it. In fact, health anxiety, fear of dying, globus. Oh my goodness, it was off the scale. So I hope you'll gain some reassurance from understanding that if you've seen any of Charles's videos, you'll see that is not the guy that, it doesn't even resemble the guy that I knew that time ago. And people say, well, when you started to go out with him, didn't you realise he had anxiety? Well, the reason I didn't realise he had anxiety was because at that point, he was on heavy doses of Valium, and up to 40 milligrams a day, which is a lot. And he was nibbling it throughout the day. I thought they were peppermints, and he was kind of horizontal. He had no emotion, because there's no pill actually that's been synthesized that can go into the brain to remove an anxiety disorder. What it tends to do is take the edge off, and that's what it did for Charles. When he started to come off the Valium, you can imagine it was like a volcano. Anyway, that's my story is in the program, so you're welcome to read that if you join, and I hope it doesn't bore you, but it's actually when I think back to how it was pretty horrendous. So for those people that might be watching this that are loved ones, chapter 12 in the book, in the overall programme, is advice for loved ones, because my life stopped. Not only did Charles's life stop, our whole world became smaller. I didn't have a life because I became his carer actually. And as much as I hate that word, because carer implies that he's ill, anxiety is not an illness, but it manifests like one. And, for Charles, it certainly was, it felt like an illness, and it definitely manifested like one. Anxiety is the disorder of the emotion of fear, okay? It's not an illness, it's the disorder of the emotion of fear. Think about, we all need to experience fear as an emotion, don't we? Because if we didn't, we would walk into a road and get run over. We need to be able to react to appropriate fear. And so it's a little bit like making a cup of tea. You put the milk in the cup. That's your appropriate level of fear that you should have in your body. But when you've got anxiety, you put the milk in the cup, you keep pouring it, and it's overflowing, and it's spilling on the floor, and it's over catastrophizing. It's the what ifs, it's the safety seeking. What if this happens? What if that happens? Will I be okay? What if you go out and I'm on my own? And all of those things. How will I deal with this? What will I do if this happens? You are always looking at the most catastrophic outcome. And that's because your subconscious believes that you are in danger, and consciously you're not, but you can't stop what your subconscious is doing. So it has been set into this pattern of behavior because you've been feeding and watering. You've been practicing being anxious over whatever period of time. That can be a few weeks, it can be a few months, it can be many, many years. We've helped people that have had it for many years. And by the way, duration of suffering bears no relevance on recovery and using this program, and neither does whether you're on medication or not. We would love our clients to be off medication in the future, but for the moment, you just leave everything as it is. We're not going to be asking you to stop smoking. We're not going to be asking you to make any major life-changing decisions right now. Let's work on the anxiety. Then you can decide what you do, and how you start to move forward the rest of your life and making other decisions. But we actually say the opposite. We say don't make any life-changing decisions whilst you've got anxiety. Let's wait until you've got that balance and that equilibrium back. So how is it delivered? It's delivered, the online program is that. It's delivered through our online portal, which is a confidential portal which only members have access to. So you'll have your own login, your own password. That is for life of the portal. Okay, you can access it for as long as you need into the future. And that's not because you are likely to get anxiety again, but some people just enjoy some of the visualizations in there. It might be that in the future you've got something that's quite daunting. You might be getting married, you might be going for an interview, and you might think, do you know what? I'm going to listen to Charles's empowerment visualization because I really enjoyed that. Or there might be a time when you're struggling to sleep. You might have had a baby and getting back into your sleep patterns, and there's a visualization on there that helps you to sleep. So that's why we want to offer you that ability to be able to go into that members area for as long as you need to into the future. The thing that has a limit on time is the support. And what we do is we have two avenues of support. We have the webinars, which are up to 3 months access to webinars, which happen on a Monday night and a Wednesday night. And that is from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So 90 minutes. They often go over, but you'll hear me, if you are on the webinars, I often give Charles a tap because he does tend to go on a little bit, but that's because he wants to make sure that everyone has had their questions answered and that everyone's had a fair chance to put those questions across and for him to be able to address them. And those happen on a Monday, usually pretty much with Charles every Monday. And occasionally we have guest speakers on a Wednesday. So Charles does some of them on Wednesday. It might be one of our support specialists like Kathy, who's been with us for 16 years, who's very well versed in the program, and she's fantastic. Or it may be our nutritionist Jackie, or it may be our confidence coach, and Melanie, or it might even be me. And I do usually about once a month I do a loved ones webinar on a Wednesday, and that is purely for loved ones, because I found that when I was struggling as a loved one, I didn't know what to do to help, and often things that I did I see now were a hindrance. What we want is for everyone to be singing from the same hymn sheet. So that's why the information for loved ones is in the program, and then if you're a webinar member, you'll be able to access one of my live loved ones webinars or give that information to your loved one. So they're all 90 minutes or thereabouts, and they always happen on a Monday and a Wednesday. Okay. Now, obviously, if you're a shift worker and you're working every Monday and Wednesday, that's not something for you. So straight away, you can discount that because we don't pre-record. We don't offer them as recordings for confidentiality reasons. The way that works is you see the facilitator. So if it's Charles himself, you'll see Charles on the screen, on the Zoom screen. It's live. You can type a question. Obviously, whatever your chat is, it's usually just your first name or whatever your name is on Zoom. So people don't know who you are. They can't hear you. They can't see you. They can see you, what question you've asked, but that actually is often helpful to other people because you might find that question is something that somebody else is thinking, oh, I was going to ask that question. So it's very much troubleshooting. Okay, so Charles is troubleshooting any areas. Often it's about symptoms, concerns. It might be things like, well, I thought I was doing it correctly, but am I doing something incorrectly? So I get so many requests for people that want to get to Charles. So this is a way of getting to Charles. You have to share him, unfortunately, because I haven't got enough of Charles. I haven't learned how to clone him yet, but it's a great way of you being able to get your questions answered by the man himself. So like I said, that's for up to 3 months. By the way, the prices for this are on the website, and you can check out www.thelindenmethod.direct and then just go to the join area at the top, and then you'll be able to see the options. The other way to access it is through the classic membership, which is again access to the online portal, which is unlimited and for life of the portal, and that is also with telephone and email support. Now I have to stress this doesn't come with the webinar support, but if you access this level of program, you get the email support and telephone support when you have a question. So if you've got a question about the program, you're not understanding something, you can contact support by telephone or email. And that's our team of qualified specialists who qualified psychotherapists. Like I said, they've all had anxiety themselves. The ladies that are the team of specialists have worked with us. Well, Kathy's been with us for 16 years. We've got the others have been 10, 11, 9 years. So they're very experienced at talking to our clients, and they're very experienced in the programme. We've got a couple of people that are fairly recent that are Linden Anxiety Recovery coaches that have been helping out with the phone support simply because of the increase in demand because of what's going on in the world at the moment. And they are people, fantastic coaches who have done the programme themselves and have gone on to train in the method to become a coach. So they're ex-clients, so they have lived and breathed it and are sort of living proof that this works, and now they feel compelled to help other people. So those are the two memberships. So you've got the webinar and you've got the classic memberships. One comes with the twice weekly webinars for up to 3 months. The other one comes with telephone and email from the support specialist, okay? There's more information on the website, like I said. Now let me just explain. I mentioned that anxiety is not an illness, okay? What we don't do is we don't go back as well. We don't start talking about the past. It's irrelevant, okay? There may be a catalyst of something that's happened. It's often change, for example. It might be that, retirement, having a baby, lost your job, divorce, relationship issues, all sorts of different things. Changes to routines causes that imbalance. So what we don't do is try and delve into the past. You've probably done that over and over again if you've had talking therapy. And what we don't do is particularly want to discuss your every nature of every symptom. We know what the symptoms are, and there's a whole diverse range. What we do with this program is we address the cause, the fire, the fuel, which is the anxiety. Without the anxiety, those symptoms cannot exist. They're being supported by the anxiety. And what traditional therapy often does is try to resolve the symptom. So let's talk about your OCD. How does that manifest and how does that make you feel? And that is in our eyes completely the wrong thing to do. We know that not to be effective because we've been doing this for 21 years. 87% of the clients that we helped through a survey we did 2 years ago have tried CBT. 78% are on medication. So what does that tell you? If those two things worked, then we wouldn't be in business. We wouldn't still have a program that is helping people across the globe. We wouldn't have a retreat that people are attending from across the globe, because if the things that worked, if the things that were being prescribed work, there'd be no need for us to be doing what we're doing. People say, well, why isn't this on the NHS? Why are doctors not prescribing this? Without being disrespectful to the NHS, and I think they're an amazing, the NHS are doing incredible work, especially at the moment, and I don't want to undermine them at all. But let's just say that if you think about how many people are trained in CBT, and CBT is the route that people are sent down, if they were suddenly to say, well, CBT, actually, we're going to offer this now. This is completely the opposite to CBT. It's actually a coaching program. It's kind of like saying what we've been doing for all of these people for all of this time hasn't worked. And also then what would all those CBT practitioners be doing? They'd have to all retrain. So CBT for some people have said, you know what, it's given me some reassurance. It's helped me. The trouble with reassurance is that it's like a bucket with a hole in, It's something that you need to keep going back to refill. And what this program does is it empowers you as the sufferer to not require that constant reassurance, because that reassurance can come from you. So it's plugging that hole. We're not going to talk about the past. It's actually empowering, because if you've got an anxiety disorder, you're an incredible person with great ability. You've hit a bump in the road, you've come off track, but this will get you back on track. So how does it work? It works through neuroplasticity. What's neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is something we've done from the very moment we were born. And they do say that if we were taking on the new behaviour and creating neural pathways in our brain for every new behaviour we did of every minute of every day from the age of 0 to 10, we would have the brain the size of a planet. So clearly our brains are very clever, and what happens is if you practice something, your brain will create neural pathways. Now, you've practiced being anxious for however long. It might be weeks, it might be days, it might be years, and the effectiveness of this program, it's not nothing to do with how long you've suffered. It can happen in the same way if you've suffered for 2 weeks or 40 years. The success is reliant on your compliance. That's all. So you've got to do it in order for it to work. It's a little bit like, exercising and diet. If you do both, you will lose weight and you'll get fitter. If you don't do them, you won't. With this, if you do it, it will work. It's guaranteed to work if you do it. So people say, well, does it work? Well, yes, it will work. It's like eating to cure hunger. It cannot fail if you do it. And what happens is, at the moment, because you have been feeding, watering and fertilizing those neural pathways in your brain, think of them as anxious branches, okay? Think of them as like twisted willow. Twisted willow is being fed and watered and nurtured, and it's grown bigger and bigger, and it's become more overwhelming. So it's controlling you more and more. Your world has become smaller and smaller. And feeding and watering and fertilizing them, is the exact we need to do the exact opposite of that. This program will enable you to take back the control, to understand what anxiety is, to appreciate it for what it is, and start to implement a program that the neural pruning will happen. Those anxious branches are going to be pruned away. In very simple terms, it's called neural pruning. And the new branches will grow, which will be the non-anxious branches, which it is like what you had at birth, basically. So it's scientific. This works if you do it. So it's not talking about how you feel, because that's just feeding in. It's doing the fertilizing and the watering. It's the opposite of that. That doesn't mean to say that we are not understanding and we don't offer empathy. Our support specialists know what you're going through. They've been there themselves. But this is giving you back that control. It's empowering you as the sufferer to take back that control, to understand what to do. And it makes so much sense, and it's not difficult to do, okay? And I think the education element of it, hearing what Charles has to say, understanding what he's been through, and then you start to have those sort of light bulb moments going, oh my God, so X, Y, and Z equals, oh my goodness, yes, I can understand why this would work and why other things haven't worked. So it makes sense of everything. We want you to have the best possible chance of getting well as quickly as possible. People say, well, how long is it going to take me? Now, if I were to say, okay, here's a guitar, practice playing this tune, and by next week, I want you to come back and I want you to be able to play that tune proficiently. Now, if you pick up the guitar and do it once, you can't really expect to play that tune back to me proficiently. You might be quite good at it, but if you practice for 5 minutes every night, you're going to pretty much be able to play that tune back. So what I'm saying to you is, it relies on you doing it. If you do it, you will recognize changes very quickly. But if you do it one day and then just go back to your old habits for the next 7 days, come day 9, it's going to be, well, your brain hasn't had a chance to take on those new behaviors. So it's about compliance. And the reason why we offer the support is because if you're struggling, you can then ask that question, and we will get you back on track and empower you to say, come on, you're doing really great, let's move forward. It's not tea and sympathy, it's not, oh, poor you, or it's not crisis support. It's about empowering you as the sufferer to do this and to get back your life and take back control. And I promise you, we wouldn't have the fantastic team around us working for us. Jenny, the psychologist, has been with us for 17 years. She and Kathy, 16 years, they wouldn't be working with us if this didn't work, because they wouldn't want to put their name to it. We know it works. We know it's fantastic. We have testimonials. You can see them by looking at the website. Click on the link, read them. They're from genuine, real people that have just embraced it and gone, do you know what? I've had enough of this and I'm going to get my life back. So please do pick up the phone, give us a call. UK number is 01562 702 720. That's 01562 702 720. Option 2. Okay, that will get you through to us. Leave us a message if we can't pick up the call. Like I said, it's pretty overwhelming at the moment. I'm hoping this will give you information which will mean you won't have to pick up the phone and speak to us, but we're there if you do want to ask something specific. The symptoms are being controlled by your anxiety, okay? There's a crossover of symptoms. There's health anxiety, which is on the increase at the moment for obvious reasons, fear of dying, emetophobia, puro, derealization, depersonalization, things like globus hystericus, eating disorders, panic attacks. Oh my God, there are so many different symptoms. It's actually, and there's more being added constantly. What this does is it undermines the anxiety at its core, okay? If you remove the fuel, those symptoms can't exist. They're being supported because the fire is still there. And it's like when you go for treatments, think of it like a pilot light on the gas oven, you turn it down slightly, but actually then it's gonna be turned back up because you haven't removed the pilot light. The pilot light is still on. This removes the pilot light and gives you control back and enables you to live your life. You've just hit a bump in the road. You can get back on track. This will help you to get back on your track and, make a full recovery. So please give it a chance. If you're ready to take back control, we're here to help you. And honestly, don't be a slave to your anxiety. More than ever now, we need to get our lives back and take back control. So please allow us to help you. Get in touch, give us a call, or you can go on the website and join up. The webinars happen every week. If you join, for example, on a Sunday, you'll get access immediately to Monday's webinar, and so on. So that is in your information in your portal. You'll be able to see the link of how to register, and then you just turn up at the right time, click the button, and you're there, you're in. So hope you're able to glean some information that you may have wanted to ask us by listening to me waffling on. I do apologise, it is quite late. I am quite hungry. It's now 7:45 on a Monday evening, but yes, we're here for you. If you want to drop an email, you can send it to questions@thelindencentre.org or admin@thelindencentre.org. So we hope to welcome you to the programme soon and help you get on that journey to recovery. All the very best and stay safe. Bye-bye now.